Hi, I'm Beth from Sew Country, and today is my Frugal Friday video. On Fridays, I make a tutorial for a free pattern or just something that doesn't need a pattern. And I missed last week, so I apologize for that. I was a little overwhelmed with my work, and then also I needed to cut kits for the Sew Whatever Summit that I'm teaching at this weekend. So today is going to be a cute little pouch. This is something that I need for my trip, or maybe I should say it's something that I want to take with me on my trip. My main purse is a Frank Jr. from Sincerely Jim Patterns. It's a very small purse, but it's perfect for me, and I use extra little pouches inside to keep everything organized so I can find everything I need. So for today's video, I need to make just a super simple pouch so I can organize my headphones and even keep a small amount of medicine in case I get a headache while I'm riding in the car to fit perfectly in my Frank Jr. bag. So let's just talk about the pieces and we'll see how quickly this comes together, and hopefully this will provide some use to you as well. For the pouch I'm making today, I have my exterior, which is a cotton canvas. I have a lining, which is a cotton woven. I'm not interfacing any of these pieces. I don't feel like it needs it, but you definitely could. My exterior and lining pieces are about 8.5 inches long, 5 inches wide. I just grabbed some scraps and cut them and straightened them up a little bit, and that was the size I had. It didn't really matter to me too much the size as long as it wasn't too big. For the top, I did round those corners using this curving tool. This is from Sweetly Unique. I love it. I use it so much. I always just keep it right beside me, and I just think that'll have just a really cute look to have the curved flap. So I want to have this teeny tiny slip pocket. I'm going to have 2 tags, a cork tag, and a woven label. I'm going to add a very small strap inside so that in case I want to attach this to anything, I can have a way to attach it. I'm not making a D-ring. I really don't like D-rings sticking out, so I'll show you how I'm going to add this. So you won't be able to see it from the outside, but it'll be available if I need it. Then I'm also going to use some binding. I did cut my binding on the bias, so it does have just a little bit of stretch to it. These are all the pieces I'm using. This is going to be super quick and simple, and I do apologize that it's another quick simple video. After this week I'll be back home and don't have any trips for a while, so I can start leaning into a little bit more advanced in-depth Frugal Friday videos. For this one, the first thing we're going to do is we're simply going to take these 2 pieces, the exterior and the lining, and we're going to attach them at the bottom. So I'm just placing these bottom pieces right sides together. I do suggest you use a non-directional print in this because the way this pouch is going to end up, there's going to be a part that will be upside down if you did have a directional print. I'm just going to sew with a 1/4 inch seam allowance to connect these 2 pieces along the bottom. Once I have those 2 pieces sewn right sides together, I'm going to open them up. I'm just going to press the seams flat. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold these 2 pieces wrong sides together. I'm just going to roll this seam so that I'm not seeing the interior from the exterior. Push that flat. And then I'm just going to top stitch across here 1/8 of an inch away. Now that we have this edge top stitched, what this pouch will end up looking like is this edge will fold up, and that'll be the bottom, and then this will be the top, like the flap. So I'm wanting to add a slip pocket. The slip pocket opening needs to be at the top of this piece. So I'm going to set this aside and I'm going to pull out this little pocket that is going to become that slip pocket piece. I'm going to fold it right sides together. So I'll start here, go up, over, break the stitches, and then over here, start sewing again, and then back down. I'm just going to use a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. This is going to be a very small slip pocket. For me, I'm just using it to hold in 2 Motrin in case I get a headache on the car ride. You can make it bigger if you wanted it to hold something bigger. I'm just using a 1/4 of an inch, and then I'm going to trim up the corners and then turn this right sides out. Here is my super cute pocket turned right sides out. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to top stitch across the top. This is the bottom where the opening is, but I'll close it up when I attach it to the lining. So I'm just going to top stitch 1/8 of an inch away. I'm just going to center it on this lining piece. Like I said, this flap is going to be coming up, so I want to have it. And if you get confused, you want to make for sure, flip it around so that you can make for sure it's going to go in the right direction. But definitely don't sew through your exterior just because it'll show and it just won't look good. So center it, make sure it's straight, and then just sew the sides and the bottom. My slip pocket piece was probably about 3 by 2 inches, maybe 3 by 3 inches. I'm not for sure. So you can make it whatever size you want depending on what kind of needs you might have for a slip pocket in your little pouch. Or you could just leave it off. So there's that little teeny slip pocket. Now I'm going to add my tag for the outside, so the cork tag. So let's figure out where we want it to go. I think I want it to go right here. So now I'll separate these two pieces and then I can add the cork tag here. For the woven tag, I'm going to add it to the top and it'll be hidden by the binding. So this is where this cork tag's going to go, making sure I have it all nice and even. The squares really help to make for sure you have it evenly placed. I'm just going to sew around this tag now. So here is how this tag looks. Now I'm going to baste this woven label to the top. I want to put just slightly to the side here, baste it in place. I'm going to go ahead and baste the exterior and the lining together. So I'm having them just wrong sides together. I'm going to baste everything in place because I'm going to bind around this with that bias binding I have. I can go ahead and start sewing the tag in place. I'm deciding not to go across that top stitching there just so I don't have to worry about trying to match those stitches exactly, because that is considered a finished edge there. So I just broke my stitches and I'm coming up the other side. I'm getting close to where I want this loop to go, so I'm stopping and I'm just going to place it here in the corner. This loop will be able to fit onto a key ring, or you could use a gate ring to connect it to your bag, your key minder, your keys, a purse, whatever you want. So now what I'm going to do is just decide how big I want this pouch to be as far as the top and the flap. So I'm thinking I like it to look exactly like this. So I think I'm going to go ahead and say this is going to be my final way to look. I'm going to make a crease along this top edge, and then I'll go ahead and fold this up and sew down my sides. I'm sewing down these sides just to baste them in place. I'm not going across the bottom. It's a finished edge. So I sewed down this side. Now I'm going to sew down this side. Now that I have my pouch pretty much done, I'm just going to add my binding. I'm going to start by first taking the edge of the binding and I'm folding it wrong sides together to make a crease. This is going to be at the bottom because this bottom has to be a finished edge. And I'm going to start sewing on. I'm going to do 1/4 of an inch and start sewing here. You can see I'm not clipping anything down yet. I don't need to. I'm just going to start sewing and keeping that seam allowance and keeping the binding and the edge of my pouch lined up together. The binding is right sides together with my pouch. My binding is on the bias, so it has a little bit of stretch to it. So now I'm just going to take this extra and throw it to the side and just slowly start going around the curve. Trying my best to keep that accurate seam allowance and try not to sew over too many puckers. I'm not putting any tension on the binding. I'm letting it be very loose and floppy. I'm coming down to the edge. I'm going to give myself a decent amount, maybe 1/2 of an inch. And you can see that's hanging over. I'm going to flip it up so that it is wrong sides together, just like we started with the binding, and continue sewing. Now that we have this all sewn on, what we're going to do is we're going to flip it, and now I'm going to start folding it. So I'm going to take this raw edge and I'm going to hope to be able to fold it all the way up against the pouch here. Just make a crease and then go ahead and fold it the rest of the way over. I have some loose threads there that I'm going to trim up first. And whenever I'm folding it, I'm hoping that I can get that binding to just cover my previous row of stitches. So you can see you don't see them there. That's exactly what I want. I'm going to add a clip here. And I'm going to continue doing this all the way around this pouch. When I get to the curves, I'll just take my time and try to smooth them out the best I can. I'm not going to worry too much if there's a pucker or two. It's not going to be perfect. It's just going to look cute no matter what with this contrast binding. It always helps to make a pretty pouch. So I have my binding all clipped on. I'm going to sew it from my exterior side, and I'm just going to sew 1/8 of an inch away from this folded edge. I am going to try to be really careful. I do have some puckering up here, so when I get to this spot, I want to really just kind of slow down and try to smooth everything flat so that it looks good. Don't think it'll be too bad, but I'll still be careful. The binding does have some stretch to it, so it is stretching just a little there at that curve. So I'll start here at one end and then just go all the way to the other side. So here is how my pouch looks. You can place a cam snap if you want to. I'm probably going to go ahead and get one and place it, and kind of place it up high so that it can snap close. So I'm going to go and get my cam snap and attach it, and then we'll come back and look at our little pouch. Here is my super cute quick pouch. This is going to be for my earbuds on my trip to Sew Whatever Summit. I carry a Frank Jr. as my everyday bag, and I like to keep things really organized in there because it is small and I don't want things to be a mess. So this will hold my earbuds perfectly in here. Then I even have a teeny tiny slip pocket for Motrin, so in case I get a headache. I did add a little loop here in case I want to use this to attach to my purse on the outside or to attach to my keyring, whatever I want to do. I have a woven label, I have a cork label. Super cute. I used a cam snap for my closure. Sorry that I missed last Friday for my Frugal Friday video. Sorry that this one's just a really quick short one. I do have plans for the next ones to be a little bit more in depth. If you have any questions, if you have any suggestions, if you have ideas, let me know for future Frugal Friday videos. But I'm also leaning towards doing other sewing, maybe things around our house, things that are not bag related, that can help us and save money and just make the best use of our skills in the sewing room. Thank you so much for watching another video. Thank you for being patient with me while my work was a little hectic, and I'm excited for next week's video. I also have a couple other series that I want to start on my channel too, so hopefully we'll do that in May also. Thank you so much for watching, and you have an amazing day.